It's coffee time, it's coffee time, it's the One Pot Chef drinking coffee in time. That's the crappiest intro ever. Hi guys, and welcome to another edition of Coffee Time, the monthly chat show here on the OnePotChefBlog where I answer questions sent in by you. So to begin with, if you've got any questions you'd like me to answer for the next edition of Coffee Time, leave them in the comments section below on YouTube. Alright, let's get started. First question comes from My Aussie Day, and his question is, what camera and software do you use and how long does it take to make a One Pot Chef cooking video? Okay, first things first, I have an older camera. It's a Canon FS100. It's about 4 years old and it's not like high definition or anything like that. It's pretty average. It's just your bog standard camcorder basically. As for software, because the camera isn't actually compatible with the Mac directly, I had to do a bit of what they call jiggery-pokery. Basically, what I do is I connect it to the Mac and I transfer the raw data files off the camera onto the computer. I then recode those raw data files using software called MPEG Streamclip, and I convert it into a QuickTime file, which I then put into my software, my video editing software, which is iMovie, and that's what I use to edit. As for how long it takes to make a One Pot Chef cooking video, some of them are a lot quicker than others, some of them take forever. The average, I mean, if you factor in sort of like having to go shopping to get all the ingredients, doing the prep work prior to the video, setting up the camera, the lighting, tripod, all that sort of stuff, doing the actual filming, having to do the intro, and the actual sort of editing process, getting everything off the camera and all that sort of stuff, it can be anywhere between 6 and 10 hours, depending on the complexity of the recipe and that sort of stuff. Sometimes it's a little quicker, sometimes it can take even longer than that if I make a mistake and have to restart. That chocolate pie video I did about 6 months ago, I actually did that perfectly, sat there and edited it, and then realised that there was one key scene that for some reason hadn't recorded. I think I must have pressed the record button twice instead of once, so it went record, unrecord. And so I ended up having to make the entire thing again because I had to do this one crucial bit that I couldn't do otherwise. So I ended up having to restart and do it all over again. So, fun. So that gives you a rough idea how much time it takes to do these videos. Let's see. Bertovsky, hello Bertie. I love calling him Bertie, I don't know why. His question is, would you rather be famous and rich by selling out, or poor but doing what you want to and be proud of your work? Do you know what? I'd like to know what selling out means, because I've been accused of selling out so many times in the last couple of years on YouTube. And I'd like to know what it means, because, trust me, if I could sell out, I bloody would. If someone would have come along and go, hey, I'd like to buy your channel for $50 million, yeah, I'm really going to go, no, it might make me a sellout. To be honest, I'm a bit of both, to be honest, on this one, because, like, I am doing what I want to do, and I'm really proud of what I do, so, and I'm definitely poor. I'm drinking instant coffee. How poor do you want? Yeah, so, I don't know. I guess I'm famous but poor, so we'll put it that way. Let's see. Jared Kelso123 asks, what do you think of the Bible? Also, what do you think of salmon? I think it's amazing. Talk about totally random questions. The Bible, I'm not religious. I have no sort of spirituality or any such feelings, so the Bible doesn't really mean a hell of a lot to me. But the way I see it is, if you have faith and you get something out of the Bible and out of your faith, then I think that's a fantastic thing, but it doesn't do much for me. As for salmon, why the Bible and salmon? What a random combination. Salmon, I'm not that fussed on, but it's not because I don't particularly like salmon or I have some kind of racist gene towards salmon. The reality is that I just don't really like seafood that much. It doesn't agree with me very well. That's why I don't do a hell of a lot of fish or seafood recipes on the One Pot Chef Show channel, because, well, it's just a waste of food because I'm not going to eat it. I don't think it's an allergy or an intolerance or anything like that. It just doesn't sit well in my stomach. So, yeah, so salmon, meh. I don't mind salmon croquettes. I might make some of them, actually. I might add that to the list. Somebody remind me. I'm not going to pronounce that thing because it's like CBN1234 says, are there any foods that are indigenous to Australia that you have or will feature in a cooking video? Short answer, no. The reason is that there isn't a heck of a lot of indigenous food in Australia that is commonly available, with the exception of perhaps kangaroo meat. But even if it was commonly available, I generally wouldn't use it because my cooking videos are kind of universal. They have to be. They have to be easily understood by people all over the world. And if I use some rare ingredient that can only be found in Dubbo in Australia, what's the point of doing it? People in China aren't going to be able to make it. People in, I don't know, Azerbaijan aren't going to be able to make it. So, yeah, I try to keep the ingredients as simple and as universal as possible. I'm not always successful at that. I discovered recently that apparently condensed milk is extremely complicated to find in various countries, but I try my best. So yeah, I try to avoid the indigenous recipes or indigenous ingredients. Not that there is a lot that's really commonly available. 846524162 asks, have you completely lost your mind? Do you prefer highly tuned, naturally aspirated engines or turbocharged and chipped engines? Which one has a better sound to you? Would you consider driving a diesel car? Are there lots of diesels in Australia? I can honestly say I have no opinion regarding naturally aspirated or turbocharged chipped engines. As for the sound, I think it's down to personal preference. Would you consider driving a diesel car? Not in a zillion years, and yes, there are a lot of diesels in Australia. It should be noted, I know virtually nothing about cars, and only about 4 words in that entire comment actually made sense to me. Diesel, I think, stinks. Literally stinks. Every time somebody drives past in a diesel, I have to sort of turn off the air conditioning and sort of turn it into like sort of internal only, because the whole car stinks of it for hours. There are a lot of them around in Australia, but yeah, I would never consider buying one. Retro King... Oh, is it Retro Kingdom Rules or Retro King Dom Rules? I'm sure you'll figure it out. Their question was, does nothing compare to a quiet evening alone? I love a quiet evening alone. Honestly, over the last few years, I've actually become a surprisingly solitary person. I really value my solitude, and I don't know if that's an entirely normal thing or if it makes me a bit of a sort of social pariah or whatever, but I like to spend time on my own. Hell, I'm on my own right now. I'm sitting here talking to a computer looking like a lunatic. The neighbours probably think I'm totally out of my mind. But hey, that's democracy. Yeah, I love to spend time on my own. I like to read. I like to just get on with things. I don't get distracted. I can just do whatever I want. So, yeah, I love a quiet evening alone. That's fine. Works well for me. Next question. Are you using a Mac or PC? What type of camera are you using? Well, we've covered the camera thing already. I'm using a Mac and have been using a Mac for about 1.5 years or so, roughly. Before that, I had about 1,000 PCs. So, yeah, I've recently converted to Mac the last couple of years and definitely not looking back to going back to a PC. I'm very happy with how this works. What's next? If you could do whatever you wanted in this life, not being held back by anything, what would it be? That's Kane Hunter. to be honest, I'm kind of happy with what I'm doing right now. This is probably pretty good for me. I mean, I work from home. I get to sort of do things in my own time. I'm quite happy with that. But I'd love to travel. If I was truly not being held back by anything or money or anything like that, I would love to travel. It's something that I haven't really got to do a lot of in the last few years, and I do miss it. So that's definitely something I would like to do. I think it's Marty God. I've always wondered who lives with you. Your roommates enjoy cooking too. Yeah, I have one roommate. He doesn't like to appear on camera. He's kind of camera shy. He is a funny one when it comes to cooking because he claims that he doesn't know how to cook, but I know damn well he does because his mother dobbed him in. He did various cooking courses at school, so he knows how to cook and used to cook for her, but he plays dumb with me, which I can live with that because, I mean, in the end, I don't mind cooking. It's just occasionally I would like, sort of when I don't feel like cooking, something other than Macca's drive-throughs, so... hint, hint. I'm trying to find the next question. David, are you gay? Yes. Is that an offer? Are you religious? I'm just curious. Well, we've covered that one, Madeline Mac. Yeah, I'm not religious. I never have been, so... yeah, it just doesn't really hold much for me. Jack Wilkins asks, Kylie or Danny Minogue, you have to choose one and say why. I'm going to get crucified for this. Do you know what? As a sort of proud homosexualist, I am supposed to say Kylie because she's our goddess, she's our leader. I don't think so, dear. I actually used to be a fan of Kylie Minogue, and for those who don't know who Kylie Minogue is, she's a singer from Australia who sort of went over to the UK and got big, and Danny Minogue is her sister. And anyway, I used to be a fan of Kylie's music, but the last couple of albums I just really haven't been able to get into. I just don't like this sort of really sort of cheap techno pandering to the gay fans kind of crap. Like, I want to see her do something a bit more sort of substantial, and I loved sort of Impossible Princess and various other earlier albums, but this is just, yeah, her recent ones are not good. So I suppose by default I would choose Danny Minogue, but then Danny Minogue is a weird, talentless, melted Barbie doll who's been left in the microwave a few minutes too long. So I would have to sort of defy your question and say I can't choose one or the other because I think they're both equally meh. So, I'm going to get killed by the gays. Okay. What is something silly you used to believe as a kid from Lucid Parody? Oh, God. This is really stupid, actually, because... It goes to show what a gullible idiot I was. I remember a kid at school told me once that, this was when I was really, really young. I mean, we're talking like sort of 5 years old probably, that one of these older kids at school convinced me that the little white bits inside a coconut were in fact not coconut, they were little insects. And I, for some demented reason, believed that. So, that's the only one I can think of. Let's see. X Sad and Alone. Oh, Sad and Alone. That's a pretty sad and alone username. You need something a bit more peppy. Their question is, what is your most expensive and your most sentimental possession? And what do you like more, chicken or turkey? Well, I'll address the chicken or turkey first. I can honestly say I like them equally. I probably use chicken more because it's sort of more sort of prevalent and commonly available, but that being said, I like them both fairly equally. So, yeah, but I'll probably lean towards chicken. So, but only because it's more sort of easier to source. Oh, pardon me. Oh dear, coffee went down the wrong way. Join your brethren. My most expensive possession is probably either the computer or the car. I don't have any sort of giant diamonds on sticks or anything. Most sentimental possession, I'll tell you a story. And you can decide whether or not this is twisted and demented and really not funny, but I still kind of find this funny, even though it's sort of deeply sick, is that many of you know my mother died a few years ago. And before she died, she made a lot of arrangements for after she died, like a funeral arrangements and stuff like that. And I remember at the time when she was telling me all this stuff, and I really didn't want to hear it because, hey, who wants to hear about their mother talking about their death? She was talking about what she wanted to have happen to her after she died. Specifically, she wanted to be cremated so she could be put into an urn. Because she didn't like the idea of being buried, she didn't like the idea of people going to a cemetery to worship her or cry over her in the middle of nowhere or whatever. She said sort of like, it would be better if she was cremated and put in an urn, and then people could just come round and say hello or whatever like that at their own leisure. But the thing she had about this that was really odd was that she specified that she wanted her urn of ashes to be placed on top of the television at my dad's house, specifically because that way no one could complain that there's nothing good on TV. Now, it's a testament to my mother's dark sense of humour. But anyway, when she did die and she was cremated and whatnot, it was decided that A, it wasn't practical to put her on top of the TV, and B, it was considered to be just a little bit in poor taste, even if most people did sort of find it a bit funny. So what we did was I actually compromised, and what I ended up doing was getting this framed photo of my mother, and I placed it on top of the TV cabinet downstairs in the living room. So she is on top of the TV now. So I'd like to think I fulfilled her wishes as best as practically possible. So, yeah. I just love how Mum was demented like that. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that is probably my most sentimental possession, is my photograph of Mum. So, yeah. Next question. What is your opinion on the iPad 2 compared to the iPad? Please answer mine. Mine never get included. Well, Kelsey80, yours just got included. Realistically speaking, there isn't a whole lot of difference functionality-wise between the iPad and the iPad 2. I actually got mine sitting here right now. It needs a charge. It's sort of dead. I've been overusing it. Beyond sort of the obvious differences, like the iPad 2 obviously has the cameras, so you can do video chat and take photos and take videos and stuff like that. Functionality-wise, it's more or less identical to the original iPad. Physically, the iPad 2 is a little thinner and it's got sort of curved edges on the bottom, so it's not flat like the old one. It's a little lighter. That's pretty much the only major differences. Yeah, but I use it quite a bit for video chat on Skype. I also use it for doing YouTube comments. If I reply to one of your comments, 9 times out of 10 it's probably because I've been doing it from my iPad. So yeah, that's my sort of contrasting opinion of the both. Secret Justin. Oh, this is in reference to something in the last video. Okay, did your PE teacher have a mustache? No, he didn't. You're thinking the wrong one. Lomloyal? I don't know how to pronounce that. Oh, it's not a question anyway, so it doesn't matter. I'm a twit. Knitting and, oh, I love her. Do you sing karaoke? If so, how many drinks does it take, coffee or alcohol? I can safely say I have never done karaoke. Actually, scratch that. I can safely say I have never done karaoke in English. A few years ago, a friend of mine had an engagement party, and some of her family decided to put on their karaoke machine, and their karaoke machine was all Filipino songs because many of the family were Filipino. And I know I'd had more than a few drinks, and it was decided that it would be completely sensible for me to get up and sing one of these god-awful songs, which not only I had no idea what they were about, I could barely sort of see the screen. And suffice it to say, a lot of the people thought it was hilarious because they had never heard someone try to sing Filipino sort of pop songs with that sort of degree of alcoholism. Yeah, it wasn't the earth-shattering success that I was expecting it to be, but that being said, considering I had no idea what the hell I was singing about, I thought I was doing quite well. So, yeah, and may we never speak of it again. If you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go? From the Kiwi Cook. Right now, this second, if I could go anywhere, I would love to just go somewhere nice and quiet and deserted, like an island in the South Pacific, where the most sort of complicated decision I have to make is how many little umbrella drinks I want to have. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I would love to take a nice little holiday and just sort of get away from everything. No mobile phones, no internet, no anything, just sort of no distractions. I just want to go and have a relax. Oh, the Kiwi Cook's got another one. If you could meet... Shut up! Bloody horns outside. If you could meet any celeb, who would it be? I'm not really that fussed on celebrity culture. I'm not one of those people who sort of gets those magazines to see what Angelina Jolie's latest armpit fiasco is or whatever. Armpit fiasco? I have no idea what that's about. But yeah, I'm not really that worried about celebrities sort of meetups and stuff. Although, if I did have to pick one, I'd probably like to meet Nigella Lawson, simply because she is one of the most interesting women I think I've ever seen. Sort of, you see her in interviews and things like that, and she is truly very intelligent. She's very well spoken. She's got a demented sense of humour. There's one interview I was watching where she was actually heavily implying that when she looks at a fat person, she thinks, wow, that looks delicious. Which I find the idea of her being cannibalistic to be incredibly funny. So, although it'd be a little bit terrifying if I did meet her, actually, wouldn't I? As I'd be one sweet treat. But anyway, moving on. Let's see. Jumbotron815. Thanks for answering my question. No problem. Do you grow any herbs at home? If you do, can you please tell how to go about growing a few herbs inside? I have the black thumb of death. Anything living dies in my presence. I am totally useless at gardening of any description, so no way can I help you in that one. I would, if you want your best advice how to make them grow, keep them the hell away from me. Let's see. Okay. Oh God, Charmazing Bull. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. How old were you when you got your driver's license, and what was the first car you owned? I actually got my driver's license twice. Because I got my learner's license when I was 16, because like every 16-year-old does. But because of various things in my life at the time, I was very busy with school, I was busy working at the same time. I never really got a chance to do any of the practice, so I never got around to doing it, and the license expired. It wasn't until I was about 18 or 19 that I went and got my L's again. And I went and did the driver's course and did some lessons and got some experience, and then I went and got my provisional licenses and went on to my full license. So I would say probably 19 was when I seriously started to drive. My first car was this cute little Maggie, a Mitsubishi Magno, and she was a stubborn old bitch that refused to cooperate at the best of times, and I really do miss her. But unfortunately, she's been crushed into a cube because she was too expensive to repair. Her bits became a bit too frayed around the edges, and it was decided it was probably easier just to buy another car, which I did. Next question. Love NATO XOX. Or Love Nat, OXOX. God, I hate usernames with O's and X's in them. What's the most pointless item you've bought? I can tell you exactly what it was. About 6 months ago, and this is really sort of goes to show what an embarrassing complete twat I am, is that about 6 months ago, I was at the supermarket and I was in the kitchen section having a purr at sort of, you know, wooden spoons and corkscrews like I tend to normally do, which in itself is probably pointless behaviour, but anyway, they had these onion choppers. They're like, I don't know if you've ever seen that ad for like a slap chop, where you sort of bang on the top and it chops the onion underneath. It's similar to that, basically. It was like the, I can't believe it's not slap chop. But anyway, I bought this damn thing, took it home, and I thought, well, I'm going to have a go at my new toy. So I got an onion out and I chopped it in half and shoved it in, and it was utterly crap. It couldn't cut butter, let alone an onion. I tried every single way. I didn't even bother to wash it up. I threw it straight in the bin. I was too embarrassed to take it back for a refund. It was just shit. Oh, my coffee's going cold. Fly Lady 13, do you have any pets? No, not allowed to have any pets. Cooking with Karma. Troublemaker. What's your most embarrassing moment? I don't get easily embarrassed, I don't think. You know, you always get these people who sort of will say sort of like, oh, my most embarrassing moment, I was walking down the street and then my knickers fell off. I don't have any stories like that. I don't have anything like that even compares to that. Like, I don't know. I don't even think I've even locked my keys in the car before, so I don't even have anything like that. That's a bit of an anticlimax. The Austin 17. Can you show us your most interesting or funny piece of clothing? Here's another anticlimax. I don't have any interesting or funny pieces of clothing. My clothing's really boring. I'm one of those people who can't stand things that have written all over the thing, like I'm with Fatso or whatever. Like, I hate those sort of t-shirts and clothing and things like that. And as for interesting, well, I'm a pretty dull guy, so I don't sort of go for terribly exciting clothing. So, sadly, I don't have any. T8 fan, or Tate fan, I'm not sure. One of the two. My question is, would you like to come down to South Australia sometime for a holiday? Thanks, Tate fan. I would love to come to South Australia for two reasons. One, I'd love to go to the wine country, go to all the wineries and all that sort of stuff, and just sort of go and check everything out there. But the other reason is I've never been to South Australia. It's one strange thing about being in Australia is you often don't go and see all the amazing things that are there. Like, you can go to Bali and go overseas and what like that, but a lot of people don't even go and see their own sort of country, and that's one place I would like to go and see. Plus, in South Australia, I'd be able to go and harass Miss Burpee, so that would be fun to go over there. Next question. What's your favourite fast food restaurant and what do you typically get there? Damn loud cars. Fast food restaurant. Probably Red Rooster, chicken place. And I normally get the wraps, like the big ones with all the salad and bits and bobs in it. It's really nice, so I usually get that. I'm not going to answer that question because that's kind of a private thing, so I'll leave that one out. Here in the US, we can't open a newspaper or magazine, watch TV or listen to the radio or check out the web without seeing Casey Anthony's face. Florida jury found her not guilty of murder. Oh, okay, yes. I was wondering if this story has consumed the Australian people like it has us, and if this happened in Australia, do you think the outcome would be different? K-Pot's one. I wasn't sure where you were going with that one at first, because I wasn't sure who Casey Anthony was, but then you described, yes, the woman who murdered a 2-year-old. We heard about it, but we didn't get anywhere near the kind of media coverage I imagine you guys got in the US. It didn't get any more sort of coverage than any other international story on our news, but that being said, Australian news is garbage, so unless you were sort of like doing a strippogram thing in the court, there's unlikely to have got much attention here, so that's democracy. Dear oh dear, I better not be getting this flu again. If it happened in Australia, do you think the outcome would have been different? Probably not, because the Australian legal system is a joke. Actually, it probably would have been different. They probably would have found her not guilty and they would have paid her for the inconvenience of going to court. That's kind of how the Australian system works. So, yeah, no idea. I can honestly say I've got no idea on that one. Mr. Butterworth, 24. If you were an animal, what animal would you be? I would be a narwhal. Fair enough. I have no idea how to answer questions like that, because I used to go to job interviews many years ago when I was obviously looking for work, and they would often ask questions like, if you were an animal, what kind of animal would you be? If you were a cookie, what kind of cookie would you be? If you were a tree, what kind of tree would you be? And I used to sort of go, for God's sake, it's a job in a call centre. Who the fuck cares what kind of tree I'll be? Language. But, like, yeah, I mean, it's such a stupid question. Like, not to say that your question is stupid, but, like, when it comes to actually doing a job interview, like, I don't think needing to know what kind of, I don't know, pair of underwear you are or whatever, like all that sort of nonsense. As for an animal, I don't think I'd want to be an animal, but I don't know, a bush baby, because I think they're cute with big eyes and they've got... Anyway, so yeah, that's my choice. It's totally random and that's my choice. Jill M. DeJesus, I think I'm saying that right. What do you find most irritating about people and what do you find most endearing? What will you do right after this video? Okay. What do I find most irritating about people? People who talk endlessly about nothing. That is one thing that really sort of gets on my nerves, is when instead of sort of saying, oh, I went to the shops and bought this, they will give me a blow-by-blow description. Well, first I got up and I brushed my teeth and I had a cup of tea and I went down to the shops, and then on the way down to the shops I saw this dog and this dog looked a bit like this. I don't care! Like, just like something that can be told in 5 seconds turns into a fucking 2-hour drama. So yeah, not interested. So yeah, that's what irritates me, and I'm even getting irritated just describing it. So that goes to show just how irritating I find it. What do I find most endearing about people? Honesty. It's as simple as that. I prefer honesty from people more than anything else. If you can be totally honest with someone, then that's about as endearing as a quality as I think anyone could possibly have. What will you do right after this video? Probably edit it. Actually, if I'm totally honest, I'll probably go and have a cigarette and then go down and then edit it, but I'm a bad person. Next question. CatFreak190. Can you please upload the video your friend did of the parody of Rebecca Black's Friday? Well, I can't upload it. I can put a link to it, I suppose. Oh, which channel did you do it on? It's on Tabloid Junk. If you go to youtube.com/tabloidjunk, you'll find it on there somewhere, because it was quite funny. CatFreak190 also asks, have you seen Rebecca Black's new single, My Moment? If so, what do you think of it? Do you think it's better than Friday? I can honestly say I have no opinion on Rebecca Black, because I know no matter what I say, I will get torn apart for it. So, oh, what the hell. I think she's crap. The fact is, I heard the version where they took the auto-tune off her singing, and frankly, yeah, it sort of says a lot. It must be nice to have money. Do you like espresso, a shot of black coffee? I like it in things. I don't like it by itself. I don't order espressos by themselves. I usually have it in a mixed drink of some kind. So, yeah. When was the last time you were on a flight to somewhere? God. Would have been a while. Probably early 90s. Maybe when I went over for my grandmother's funeral to the UK. I think. Yeah, that must have been it. Because I haven't been on a plane for forever. So, yeah. Trying to find the next question. Okay. I haven't been to Sydney since I was 17 and want to go there this year for my 22nd. What's something fun to do? All I did last time was shopping. No idea, I don't live in Sydney. I haven't lived in Sydney since I was 13, so yeah, I've only been to Sydney maybe 2 or 3 times since I left, so I can honestly say I don't know. Beyond the basic tourist stuff like Opera House, Harbour Bridge, Aquarium, I'm not really sure. That being said, a lot of shopping sounds good. Mr. That Guy, not one, says, can I come live with you? I'll turn gay if you want, just as long as you share your meals with me. I'm serious. Oh, Mr. That Guy, not one. You don't have to turn gay. I'll root you if you're straight. Do you know what? If everybody who asked if they could live with me just for my meals did live with me, I'd have to live in like some gigantic compound with like 1,000 rooms. I'll turn gay for you. Yeah, I don't care if you're gay or straight, I'll root you nonetheless. Because I am just a crazy sex maniac, and I talk like this for no apparent reason. I'm going to stop that now. Okay. 3 questions from Gedebadge. Gedebadge? I'm not even remotely close, am I? Okay. Where did you get your intro music from? Okay, I got it from Kevin MacLeod, who has a website filled with royalty-free music which is suitable for using on YouTube, and it's in the description of the video. I put it in the description of every video. There's a link to his site, so go and check it out. 2, which video editing suite do you use? iMovie 11. And finally, what type of video camera do you use? We've already covered that one, so that's fine. Scrapyard Ape. He's gorgeous, isn't he? He's gorgeous. Now that you're a YouTube celebrity, have you been recognised by strangers in public, other than that lady at the supermarket, of course? For those of you who don't know about the lady at the supermarket, that was something that came up a couple of weeks ago, where this woman came up to me in the supermarket and she sort of tugged on my shoulder and she goes, "Are you the One Pot Chef?" And I said, "Yes." And she goes, "Really?" And I'm like, "Yes." And she goes, "I prefer Nico." And then she walked off. I was like, "Oh, ah." So yeah, as of being recognised by strangers in public, it doesn't happen very often, but the only sort of places I tend to get recognised is at the supermarket, strangely enough. So, and at YouTube gatherings, that's about it. So, yeah, I don't know if that qualifies me as a YouTube celebrity. I haven't felt the need to sort of adopt disguises or send out sort of decoy vehicles or anything at this point, so that works for me. Hardcore Glamour 01. Do you end up eating the stuff you make in your videos, or do you give it to your housemate, family, friends? Okay. When it comes to the savoury stuff, like anything with meat or whatever like that, if you see me doing that, basically that's dinner for that night. So, yeah, it gets eaten, whatever, like that. When it comes to the sweet stuff, 9 times out of 10 we'll sort of have a little bit. Me and my housemate will have some, but the rest of it gets sort of divided up and sent to friends and family. Because, well, the reality is it's unreasonable to think that 2 people are going to sit there and eat like a giant chocolate cake by themselves. Like, that's just not normal behaviour. And I recently did a video which hasn't been uploaded yet for caramel fudge. And there's a good example of what happens when you don't plan ahead very well. I hadn't used this particular recipe before. I was adapting my mother's recipe, and so I decided to give it a test run before I actually filmed it, and it came out perfect. So I had this thing of fudge, and then I had to make another one, and it suddenly dawned on me I've got about 1 kilogram of caramel fudge, and I'm the only person really around that actually eats it, because my housemate doesn't eat it, my father can't eat it for sort of health reasons, and yeah, I was having to sort of ring people up going, "Would you like some fudge?" Because you'd really be doing me a favour. So I ended up getting rid of most of it, but yeah, yeah, if it's basically savoury stuff, obviously it's for dinner, but sweet stuff generally gets given away because it's unreasonable to eat it all. So, yeah. Satijaf. If you could choose, would you rather have no social life or no fans on YouTube? I think I have both. No, I already have no social life, so the decision's already been made for me, I think. Yeah, so I think maybe I've already made that plan already. I was sort of like, I've got fans on YouTube but have no sort of social life, so yeah, there you go. What do you think of the riots in London? Utterly disgraceful. It just goes to show what sort of happens when you allow a bunch of degenerates just to go running wild. It's absolutely appalling. Some of the footage I saw was just, it was sickening to watch, and I hope that they catch the majority of the people who were involved in some of that truly disgraceful behaviour and they really sort of get punished, because that's just not reasonable human behaviour. That's just sort of sick. What is the easiest dessert recipe? I have no idea. I think it'd be that chocolate fudge that I did ages ago, or the chocolate pie, because they were literally so simple to make. I remember actually seeing these recipes and going, no way, that can't possibly work. And yeah, it worked, and good, so go and check them out on the cooking channel. Irate Gaming Zealot. David Tennant or Matt Smith, your choice of criteria. For those of you not in the know, David Tennant and Matt Smith are two actors who have been playing the role of Doctor Who on TV. I would probably choose David Tennant, because I've never been terribly happy with Matt Smith's performance of the Doctor. I think he's too young, and I think he kind of overacts a bit, so yeah. So I'm not going to get into that because I'll get torn apart by the Doctor Who fans, and I'm already getting killed by the gays, so... Oh god, gay Doctor Who fans, I'll get killed! I'll get killed twice. Okay, would you please do coffee time more than once a month? The reason I chose not to do coffee time more than once a month was because I didn't want it to get stale and old. I wanted to sort of give it a gap between episodes, so there would be time to build up questions, and otherwise, if I did this, say, like once a week, it would get boring really quickly. So I don't mind doing it once a month. That's why I do it like that. What do you think of all the cooking shows on TV nowadays? What is your opinion of Gordon Ramsay? Gordon Ramsay is a prat. I'll put it bluntly. Who was it who was asking about being a sellout? If he's not the biggest sellout, I mean, seriously, this sort of attitude of sort of like swearing at your workers and co-workers and people and babies and whoever the hell happens to be around just for the sake of the cameras, that's pathetic behaviour. He's just cashing in on sort of a ridiculous idea. So that being said, I've never been terribly impressed with his cooking. He occasionally does something sort of interesting now and again, but I don't think he's anywhere near as good as the hype sort of leads you to believe. As for cooking shows on TV these days, I think they all have the same failing, and that is that cooking shows today tend to go for things that are just a little too complex. Like, if you're new to cooking and you, say, watch some of the stuff on MasterChef or any of the other cooking shows you see, it's all really exotic ingredients and complicated things that are very difficult to reproduce at home, especially if you've never done anything like that before. That's why I think there is a gap in the market where I think you need to have, like what I do on my show, where demonstrating the basics, doing the simple versions of things so people can get confident in the kitchen and sort of go for it from there. So that's my opinion. Udarvamp? I don't know. One simple question. Will you ever make a better site where you will put a section for people to send their recipes, and if they make a YouTube video that resembles your close-up style of filming, you should post their link? If you make a video about one of my videos, you can post it as a video response on YouTube. That's already there. I don't know what you're talking about. And I generally don't encourage people to send recipes simply because I used to actually ask people for suggestions and recipes and things like that. And I've kind of stopped that these days for two reasons. One is that I often get bombarded with 75 different versions of the same recipe. And if I don't do 75 different versions of it, then I've got 74 people who are going to be absolutely furious at me for not using their version of the recipe. The other reason is that with the One Pot Chef show, it's a kind of a niche market, sort of. I have to do certain kinds of recipes. They have to be a certain sort of basic level. They have to be relatively cheap to put together. They have to be basically sort of certain kinds of recipes. And when I get like people sending a request going, can you please make lobster thermidor, or can you please spit roast a hippo? Like, it doesn't fit in with the format. And so people would get insulted that I wasn't doing it. And they're going, well, it's not quite what I do on this channel. So yeah, so it doesn't really fit. So people are always welcome to send suggestions. I have no problem with that, but it's just the expectation that if they send something to me that I will absolutely do it. That's not going to happen. It's just unrealistic. So, and the other reason is I often get recipes from people who will send me a recipe that features ingredients that are completely unavailable here. Like, how am I supposed to reproduce that recipe? So, yeah. Last question. God, we're ending on a very dark note here. Is there anyone in your life, or has there been, who you really hate and would like to see die in pain? I know it's deep. Love your videos. Well, the Happy Chat 101. I can honestly say I don't think there's anyone in my life, or has ever been in my life, that I would hate so much that I want them to die or be in pain, or die in pain. It's unrealistic to turn around and say that I don't hate people, because I have hated people in the past. Sometimes people are so cruel or nasty or just plain lacking in any kind of basic human decency, or, I don't know, just sort of, they're just bastards, basically. But I don't know if just because somebody's a bastard doesn't mean they deserve to die, although that's not written in stone. Yeah, so in the end, yeah, that's a really bad way to end a video. Somebody ask another question. What's your favourite colour? Oh, okay, my favourite colour is blue. There we go. There, ended on a happy note. So, okay, that's the end of coffee time. Dare I ask how long this video has gone for? Ooh, nearly 50 minutes. Okay, definitely going to wrap this one up. All right, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it insightful. And if you've got any questions you would like to ask me for the next edition, again, please leave them in the description below on YouTube. In the description, in the comment section below on YouTube. Oh, God, my cold coffee is making my brain sad. Alright, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. Lots of love to you all. See you next month on Coffee Time. Alright, bye.